Mega Man 11 is finally here. No doubt many Mega Man fans were expecting a lot from this one. So has the game lived up to those expectations? Let's take a look and find out. I've been waiting a long time to do this review for you guys, so without any further ado, this is the gaming retro review of Mega Man 11. Right away you'll notice Mega Man 11 starts off differently than its predecessors, in that it has a story at the beginning of the game that's a little more fleshed out than we usually get in a Mega Man game. The basic premise explores Dr. Wily and Dr. Light in their younger days, where Dr. Wily wants to focus on the development of a new system to make the robots stronger called the Gear System, whereas Dr. Light wants to focus on developing their intelligence, mainly their ability to have independent thought. The entire committee, including Dr. Mustachio, agrees with Dr. Light. A furious Dr. Wily then leaves the meeting, smashing the device in anger. Waking up from the memories of his youth, Wily decides to continue the research of the gear system, and that's where Mega Man 11 begins. The game has 4 difficulty levels, which makes it easy for newcomers as well as hardcore Mega Man fans alike to enjoy themselves. I started on normal right away, and it was definitely very challenging. I hadn't played a Mega Man game in a while, so I did dial it back to casual for the sake of this review. Now, if you haven't played a Mega Man game in a while like me, I would recommend casual. It's a little more forgiving, you take less damage from enemies, and it allows you to learn the levels a little bit more before you jump into the harder difficulty settings. But if you want old school challenge right out of the gate, this game definitely has it in spades. Before getting into the gameplay, one thing that I thought was kind of amusing about this story too is that Dr. Light created all the robot masters that Mega Man fights this time. It's just that Dr. Wily kidnaps them and converts them over to his side. And you'll notice a lot of different things like this while you're playing, little tweaks to make the formula just a little bit different, but there are a couple of big changes that they made too. One of the main things being the double gear system. Basically how the double gear system works is you have 2 different kinds of gears you can use. One gear is used to slow down time, making it easier to traverse the level, while the other is used to increase the power of your Mega Buster and weapons earned from bosses. The main drawback being that if you use it too much, Mega Man will overheat and can't use it for a specific time period after that. Finally, as a last resort, Mega Man can use both gears at the same time if his health gets too low. This allows Mega Man to both slow things down and use super-powered Mega Buster shots. However, this technique also has a downfall in that you can't use charged Mega Buster shots for a time after using it. Mega Man 11 sticks to its good old traditions of 8 robot masters that you have to defeat before getting through them all and eventually taking on Dr. Wily in his castle. And as usual, the challenge is figuring out what order you have to defeat the robot masters in to find the most efficient path through the game. One of the best things about Mega Man 11, and one of the things that can make or break a good Mega Man game, is the way that the levels are designed. And luckily that's one of Mega Man 11's strongest assets. The best thing about them is that they're designed in such a way that it allows you to learn the level slowly as you play, and as you progress through the level, the difficulty will keep ramping up until it reaches a fever pitch at the end. One of my favorite examples of this is on one of the best stages in the game, Bounce Man. The level starts out as most do initially, with very little danger to Mega Man as you learn the rules of the level. Enemies and challenges are slowly introduced as you play, and as a result the challenges typically never feel cheap or overused. Almost every level is designed with this framework in mind. This game, like most Mega Man games, never feels easy, but it always seems fair. And since Mega Man's controls are very tight and responsive, deaths usually feel like they were something that you did and not that the game did to you. The intelligent way the levels are designed, coupled with the gear system, make Mega Man's gameplay feel fresher than it has in years. Other small tweaks, such as the way that Mega Man completely changes his costume when you switch to a boss weapon, as well as certain weapons making it easier to progress through parts of the level instead of just being used on bosses, just add more strategy and fun as you progress. And when you finally make it through that difficult stage, you get a sense of accomplishment like only a Mega Man game can offer. Finding the right weapon to defeat a robot master is as satisfying as it's ever been, with each master displaying their most varied personalities and attacks to date, and weapons with their own unique properties that make them more fun, versatile, and diverse to use than ever. What's your favorite weapon in the game? Let me know down below. Mine without a doubt was the powered up version of the Tundra Storm. It sort of reminds me of the Giga Crush from Mega Man X. In addition to the new elements, some old school things make a return as well. Be ready to face some of Mega Man's oldest enemies, and also, you'll use your faithful companion Rush in many of the ways that you remember, such as the Rush Coil and Rush Jet. And, not disappearing blocks, I hate those things. Well, that's what the Rush Jet's for, I guess. One of the other fantastic additions to this game is Dr. Light's lab, in which you can buy parts to power Mega Man up. This system works in a similar way to some of the past few Mega Man games, in that you can use some of these purchased skills to permanently power Mega Man up, giving the game a little bit more of an RPG-like feel. They give you such skills as not being knocked back quite as far when you get hit, automatically charging your Mega Buster without having to hold down the button, not slipping around as much on icy levels, and more. By the way, do yourself a favor and buy the Speed Gear Booster ASAP. In addition to that, you still have single-use items such as extra lives, weapon and energy tanks, as well as being able to summon Eddie to give you more power-ups, Beat to rescue you if you fall down a pit, one-time protection from spikes, and an item that halves your damage until you die or beat a level. Now, some purists may call this cheap, but the game only allows you to carry a limited number of these items, and they're completely optional. I still feel like it was a smart decision for Capcom to include some of these things because it adds an extra layer of accessibility while still keeping a good amount of challenge in the game for people that do want it. Music has always been a very important part of Mega Man, and while the music selection here is decent, the tracks aren't quite as memorable as some of the past Mega Man games. While nothing will probably ever match the glory that is Mega Man 2's soundtrack, I did enjoy some of them such as Fuse Man, Tundra Man, and Balloon Man, but most of them didn't really stick with me as well as they did in past games. The graphics do a very serviceable job too, and while they're not fully 3D, they do have a few 3D aspects, but the gameplay is still all 2D environments. They do a very good job of capturing the essence of Mega Man while still giving it an updated look. And while some people may hold an issue with some of the animations such as running and climbing ladders, they're really just small gripes and don't influence gameplay at all. After you beat the game, or if you just want to break from the traditional action, there are a few other things that you can do. As in the past couple of games, they do have some challenge modes. These involve things like jumping and attacking as little as possible, time attack, and beating the stage with various conditions in effect. You can also contribute to and view leaderboards, and I'm sure those won't be hacked in a week, and view pictures and artwork from the game, which all help to round out the experience. In summary, Mega Man 11 is a return to form. The stiff but fair challenge, coupled with a fantastic level design and innovative double gear system, add a nice mix of traditional and new gameplay elements to make the series feel fresh once again. And while it's a great game in itself, it also gives Capcom the foundation to build many strong future entries in the series. For a long time, people were concerned that Capcom had forgotten about Mega Man. We can only hope that they treat a possible future Mega Man X game with as much love and care as they have with this one. So rejoice and be happy, Mega Man fans, because the Blue Bomber is back, baby!